You know that old saying, if someone else jumped off a bridge, would you do it? Do you know there's a psychological basis to it? And that psychological basis was, well, if enough people do it, you might actually do it too. Welcome to my series, Developmental Psychology, for the people who actually need it, parents. All right, let's get into it. So this is actually a really old school psychology test that actually applies to adults too and talks about conformist tendencies in different cultures. But it's really fun to evaluate it from a kid perspective because you can start to be informed about how kids make decisions that they do based on peer pressure. So the old school test is called the Asch line test. Basically, a kid or an adult walks into a room and they're the subject, right? They're the person that has no idea what's going on. And they're shown this image. They're asked, which of these three lines over here is the same length as this line here? And yes, we all know it's B. But here's the tricky part. That subject that walked into the room isn't the only person in there. There's three actors in there as well, who are also asked the same question and are asked to answer first. So I'm actor 1 and I think it's C. I'm actor 2 and I also think it's C. And I'm actor 3 and I think it's C. So suddenly you're in a room full of people that are telling you that this line is as long as this line, which is obviously incorrect because the correct answer is option B. Now, what the original Asch study finds with adults is that up to 30% of people will sit there and they go, oh, it's C, even though they know in their mind that it's actually B. Now, there's a lot of different theories for why adults do or don't conform to the Asch line test. A lot of them have to do with the culture that you're born into and these kinds of things and your propensity to peer pressure. But what about kids? So kids are a little bit different. I do a lot of research into normativity and adherence to cultural norms and that kind of stuff in kids, and they are far more vulnerable to norms than adults. And norms are just behaviors that kids see modeled multiple times, so it doesn't even matter if they're silly, they do them anyways. Even if they know they're silly and tell the experimenters that they're silly. So what research finds is that as kids get older, their propensity to conform to the incorrect answer reduces. So up to 85% of kids between 3 and 5 will actually conform to the wrong answer because everybody else did it. By about 6 to 8, that conformity halves to about 40%, and then it keeps going down from there. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that kids have a propensity to conform to something even if it's not right, especially if the 3 people telling them the wrong answer are adults. It kind of differentiates between adults versus peers versus other things. But for the most part, if it's adults, it's super compelling for little kids. And because I'm a child-robot interaction researcher, you need to know that kids will actually conform to robots as well. Cool, hey? Let me know what you want to hear about next.